All right, we are live. Um, Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, depending on where you're joining us from. It's Opinion Sharers here again, and my name is Paul. And today, if you have seen the screen, you probably have seen that we are talking about the recent endorsement of the current Nigerian president for the 2027 polls. I mean, it feels like a little bit too early, if you ask me, if I can, have such opinion. But then politicians are always looking ahead. You know, you think they sometimes you might think they don't know what they are doing, but apparently they seem to. So, and there's been a lot of party movement from one party to another, and others are galvanizing. Even those who are in the opposition are galvanizing and thinking about how they will seize power. So that's what we're going to be looking at in today's episode. I'm happy that the village boy is here. We were in here last week because many of us have other engagements that were very important. So we apologize for not turning up last week. But I'm glad we are here today. So how are you, sir?
Well, thank you. It's good to be back. Last week like you rightly said, we had a lot of other engagements. So, yeah, it's good to be here.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So I'm sure you must have seen the news about President Tinubu's announcement. We don't know whether it was orchestrated. We don't know whether it was a surprise package or whatever it is. You know, it's been announced that possibility is that he might not be facing opposition in contesting for the ticket, at the primary election for the party's ticket. What's your What's your opinion, sir? Okay, to
Well,
hear you, sir.
I think the usual practice actually is that when because the maximum tenure for a president in Nigeria is 2 terms, which is 8 years. After your first year,
Hmm.
the sitting president has the first right of refusal to recontest. So it is
Okay.
when that right is not exercised that other candidates could emerge from the political party. So I don't think it's something very unusual. Uh, when it comes to nomination for 2027, as far as APC is concerned, the sitting president, haven't been in his first tenure, has the first right of refusal. So it's when he says, "Oh, I'm no longer interested in contesting," that it can be thrown, that it will be thrown open.
Okay. I'm guessing you are saying it's not a big deal. Yeah, you're not
No, it's
surprised.
not. It's not. But what I'm surprised, like, it's a bit too early if you ask me, because we are just almost approaching the second year. I mean, it's not yet full second midterm actually, technically speaking, which will happen by this by next weekend on 29th. So I think it's a bit of jumping too early into the something. So I would have expected something like it to happen in the third year, or maybe after 2.5 years, not some days before the second year. So that is the only thing I would say is a bit unusual and awkward, and especially the one by the governors forum. That seems to be off the cliff for me. But basically speaking, again for emphasis, the president has the first right of refusal, no, for the
Hmm.
next cycle.
Okay. Jamila, you're welcome. How's your weekend going?
Thank you, sir. It's been good. Good to be here.
Okay.
Good to
All
see you.
right.
Thank you,
So
sir.
the topic, I'm sure you are aware of the topic. So Village boy is not surprised. What about what's your own first what comes to mind when you first heard the news?
I share the same thoughts with the village boy, especially the word awkward he used with the early announcement. I think it's just too early, but I'm not surprised that the APC will be willing to field him, or he would be willing to run in the 2027 poll elections. So I think it's no brainer that he was going to run. It's no brainer that the APC were going to be lying, queuing behind him, and giving him their full support. I mean, that's how it's been for even when PDP were still doing their thing. That's how it has been, even when the North were not fully agreeing with uh what's his name, Goodluck Jonathan. They still gave him the ticket, right? So that's to say, whatever the internal politics might be, they will still field him eventually, because he's the sitting president. He's got the power. He's got the resources, so to say. The state resources is at his disposal. So definitely they will field him. But the thing is, like the village boy said, it sounds awkward that it's coming out just before he finishes the 50% of his first term. It's just barely 50% of his first time. So I had a conversation with someone earlier today, my big brother, and then we were talking about all of this, and he said something that I asked him, how would you judge this man? Because the common thing that I've heard from people from home is that you are not on ground. So and that makes it feel like I don't have the right to to share my opinion about what's going on in Nigeria, especially with politics. And I asked him, how would you rate this man? Because it seemed to be reasonable to me and a little bit impartial. It wasn't because I was campaigning for a certain candidate, not really campaigning, but I was rooting for a certain candidate in the 2023 elections. It didn't because of that think that, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, or he's one of those few guys that I hold in high esteem that saw beyond, our political leanings and thoughts then. So I asked him, if you want to be fair, like, how would you? He said he's had good things about him here and there, in terms of policies and infrastructure. But what he's saying is that he, as a common man, cannot feel it yet that there is anything going on. That the common man on the streets, the people, the middle classes. I'm not even sure we still have a middle class in Nigeria anyway. But people that are not really wealthy, that you can't tell what's going on with his policies. That yes, people are praising him, but that mostly from politicians saying he's doing good, he's doing this and that. But if you ask a common man, so then that begs to ask that question: that why do you think this early announcer is necessary? Why? What's the motivation behind it? What are they trying to do with it? So, and as Tinubu is a master strategist, as they call him. So there might be things going on behind the scene. There might be reasons behind this thing that we are seeing. So that's just what I want to say about it.
All right, thank you, Timlane. Village boy, do you think it's the fear of the possible coalition that we are hearing, even though some people have been saying there's nothing much about the so-called coalition, but we have been hearing coalition? Anything can happen actually in politics, and it's still far 2 years ahead. Could it be that they are rushing, or they are panicking because of the so-called coalition that is building up?
I don't think it makes sense to think in that regard. Like I said, it is in no fact that, I mean, God sparing his life, he will contest. I mean, that is no brainer. Everybody knows that will happen. Uh, you know, yes, the truth is like you may use that as a destabilizing factor uh, for the coalition. But then, if anybody in the coalition is deluding himself that he's not going to contest the 2027, then that person maybe we have to probably give that person a note to Yaba left to go and check something there. So yes, that could be a strategy to say, okay, hey, to create panic in the camp of the opposition. Um, Now I mean, there are a lot of other things we are having now. Okay, first they are going to the coalition are going to use SDP, then they say they are going to use ABC, and I know ABC is Obasanjo party actually. So the ABC is Obasanjo party by proxy. I mean, we know that much. Is it ABC or ADC? I think
ADC.
it's ADC. It's Obasanjo party by proxy. So I mean, it's like they are not even organ. I mean that shows something. I mean, Labour Party is in disarray. Atiku is promising that he will do 4 years and hand over back to this thing. Well, this is not a relay race. So all in fact, the annoying thing about this is that none of these people care for the electorate. So what I can Atiku promise that he was going to do 4 years and hand over to this thing, as if it is office something, office board appointment. This is an election. You have to win. It's not about okay, you will not contest again. Maybe that's what it meant, that you will not contest after 4 years. Well, it would have been by then anyway. So I think politicians, especially in Nigeria, they have the ability to create surprises. Sometimes, I mean, to give us some, Nigerians are very good to give us something to talk about, like we are doing now. So that's one of the things. That should be one of the aim. Why, as much as I'm not undermining the coalition, but it's like the bottom line is like, can you actually give what you don't have? PDP is in disarray. There's much crisis in LP. Maybe that's why now okay. Let's look at ADC. ADC has always been a fringe party all along. I mean, it's been there for ages. It's been there. People don't know. Even at the initial stage, even 2023 was going to be. We thought it was going to be they call it the fourth something 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 that was going to pull out a surprise, but nothing really happened. So I don't know what they aim to achieve. Again, 24 hours is such a long time in politics. Such a long time. Because a lot of things can change in 24 hours. So we are watching, we can only hope because tomorrow you what you will be seeing now, since we'll be seeing alignment, realignment, misalignment, realignment, and all that. A lot of horse trading will happen. Again, maybe it's the guy with the deeper pocket that we're able to pull out some surprises. I mean, electoral surprises here and there. So at the end of the day, you will see most of these people who are this coalition now. You can wake up in the next 3 months and say they come to APC. So it's not something that Nigeria politics is very, at times it's very laughable. Actually, it's very laughable. We need strong opposition. Don't get me wrong. We need strong opposition, but when you are going to have a strong opposition, you must overcome one thing. You can only have strong opposition if you have successfully, if the opposition parties or group have overcome stomach infrastructure. If you have not overcome stomach infrastructure, you cannot be an opposition. That's the truth. Otherwise, you become a Nicodemus at best. Opposition in the morning and allies in the evening. So you Nicodemusly support the ruling party and you come out to chat in the open in the morning, in the afternoon. So yeah, I think that's the major problem I see in the PDP. Unless we are not admitting it. And now what they are doing now, which my own fear is like, are we turning Nigeria to a one-party system? Now, if you have Lagos, you have Delta, and probably Akwa Ibom now, because Jonathan is going to say they cannot campaign against Tinubu. So and this guy still control Bayelsa. Even if Bayelsa has a PDP governor, if these guys are not campaigning against Tinubu, it's literally like all the, you know, stay with in heavy pocket, deep pockets are in the pocket of APC, to so to say. And of course, Rivers State has become a playground. They are playing double 64 as apology to Sevrudaya. They are playing 64 with River State. So if you have this, you know, heavy, deep pocketed state at your disposal, you are good to go. So the so much infrastructure for your opposition, what you do is to starve them of money, and they become Nicodemus. Sorry to use that noble character in the Bible to explain this.
Okay, thank you, sir. Timilai, what if you listen to the way the village boy has described the PDP, it's like it's now like an empty drum, and I'm saying that respectfully. Uh, I don't want to be quoted, but would you blame Tinubu's politics or APC's politics for what seemed like a balkanization or balkanization of the party?
Thank you very much. So the PDP's problem was caused by the PDP. You cannot blame your opposition for what you are suffering, because that's what they are there for. So the arch enemy of the PDP in terms of politics is APC. So it's just like Chelsea and Man U playing, and then Man U is blaming Chelsea for somebody's injury, or they have strategies to do that in those days of Cannavaro, in those Carvalho rather, in those days of Terry. So they are there to cause problem in your camp. So you cannot blame APC for the problems PDP is facing right now. I believe we've talked about this many times on this show, that the major problem of all political parties in Nigeria is ideological problems. They don't have foundational ideologies with which they formed the party and with which the party operates. So if the PDP had a strong ideological mindset that this is what we believe in, this is the path we were going to toe, and they will walk strictly in that path, that probably wouldn't have been a problem. For instance, this problem started way during APC merger, when APC first started, maybe around 2013, 2014, and the G7 governors, then I think it was Saraki, it was Rotimi Amechi, and some other governors. They decided to say we are not following Goodluck Jonathan anymore, and they came to PDP. So that was the beginning of the problem of PDP.
I think
Now,
I was there too, right?
Sir?
El-Rufai too.
El-Rufai was there. Now, this is what I want you to see, that those people that fell out of the PDP in those days, where are they today? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. So they probably weren't there because of ideology. They probably don't believe in the system with which the party runs. They only believe in it when it works for them. And whenever things don't work for them, and that's where you will see that El-Rufai, in fact, in the very first term of Muhammadu Buhari, you will see that the Speaker of the Senate then, which was Saraki, one of the G7 people that left PDP, they were the one of those that were causing problem for Muhammadu Buhari's government. And you will see the same thing is slowly happening in Tinubu's government. El-Rufai, that you will think that is one of those guys, that will be at the forefront, boot on the ground and all that. But where is he today?
Well, he has a reason to work against them now, because I guess they sidelined him, whether deliberately or not.
Whatever the case may be, everybody will, even if you catch a thief now with a piece of meat in his hand, he will give you an excuse. That, and that's why we are talking about ideology. So it is either the PDP and the APC put together don't run on ideologies, or they run on or they run on ideologies that only favor a few, and neglect the others. So all of us know when Tinubu was campaigning, many people, whether they are in Labour Party or they were in PDP or they were in APC, many people said things about him, irrespective of their political leanings, that this guy has a eye for people that can work, right? Number two, this guy has a gratitude mindset, that if you had done something for him, maybe helped him at some point, he was going to return the favor one way or the other. So if El Rufai believed so much in that, why didn't he say that I know this guy, something must be cooking for me somewhere? You get what I mean? So if we so believe in the people we follow, if we so believe in, and that's why I am saying the problem with Labour Party. The problem with Labour Party is the party doesn't run on an ideology, it runs on a personality. And if anything happens to Peter Obi, Labour Party is going to fall out. So these are the problems that we should be looking at one after the other. The problem the PDP has today began, especially in this Tinubu's era, with Wike. It started when the PDP decided not to honor what they could have done. That you have run at some point and you are from the northwestern part of the country, or maybe northeastern part of the country, then it is time for another person to run. You have been given many chances, but they decided to follow who had the dollars to spend. So, we know that these things happen. It happened a lot. Even when the APC were doing their primaries, we saw many people who did as if they were serious about becoming president. I hereby donate my ambition. They donated their ambition to Tinubu. Do you think that just happened overnight? So, I'm hereby stepping down for our leader. This was a common statement made by many of those contestants at the primaries. So these are the things we should be looking at. The parties follow who can spend money. Simple.
That was how they defeated our professor.
Our professor, Arotimi Amechi. By all standards, if we want to look at the problems of Nigeria, I would have thought that Yemi Osinbajo would have been the best candidate to run this country for two reasons. The first reason is that he was in government for 8 years. Many people might argue that he was part of the problem, but how involved was he in decision making?
Probably less than 10%.
Probably less than 10%.
That's my biased opinion.
I have the same opinion, sir. I have the same opinion. So this guy has been in government. He probably sees the loopholes. Now, Tinubu that is coming, he sees the government from afar. And he probably will have to start all over because he doesn't even believe in what Buhari was doing. So he had to start.
He was seeing it from afar, but he couldn't even smell it.
Exactly.
Even though he helped them get there, but
you get it. But Osinbajo already knows the loopholes. He knew where to begin from. In fact, the right word, the person that could have best used the word "hit the ground running" would have been Osinbajo, because he knows what the problem of governance with Nigeria is at that point. Now, today, he's also a foreigner when it comes to governance, because a lot has happened in the space of 2 years. So the guy was there. And number two, the guy, apart from the fact that he was there, he seemed to have, I don't know, he seemed to have the personality, a presidential personality. Honestly speaking, it seemed, in my own opinion, another person from Lagos might say no, and that's okay. But it seemed to have you seen him when he went out to speak, when he was representing Buhari? I would be proud to say that's my president. That's just me, and that's my opinion. So for two reasons, I believe it would have been the better guy. But look at how people were donating their ambitions up and down for Tinubu for Tinubu to be the president.
I guess it is high time we look at policy like a game.
It actually is to them. It's a game.
I think our inability to see it as a game is what made us sometimes very, very emotionally involved, and get.
Sorry to cut you, sir. Sometimes we are also emotionally involved because of the love for the country.
Of course.
Because we are emotionally invested, right?
Yeah. For many of us.
Yeah, exactly. And at some point, like
Yes,
this case that we are now, our eyes will the scales on our eyes will fall off, and we'll see the reality on ground. And then sometimes,
it's falling
if you
off
notice,
gradually.
every time that a new president comes in, everybody calms down, and in 2 years they get used to the system, and they start drumming, beating drums of we can do it again. But that it's just going to be a vicious cycle. It's going to continue again and again. But that shouldn't stop us, from talking, from saying our minds, from giving our
Engaging
opinions.
and
Yeah,
participating. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Thank you, Tumlai. Village boy. I heard that PDP is having their National Executive Council meeting. That's what they call NEC, right?
Yeah.
Probably next week.
Okay.
Do you see them forming? Do you see something new that can challenge this Tinubu's endorsement coming out of the probably new PDP, if that is possible? And I want to also talk a little bit about DOB, but let's do this one first. First, do you see any formidable force coming out?
Endorsement nomination is a done deal. It's a party affair. Whatever you do at your own level doesn't affect that. The only thing it affects when it comes to the election proper. So can you have a team, or can you creep? I mean, can you come with a system that can beat or defeat this candidate, his candidature? That's the thing. Whether they're being endorsed, being nominated, they don't have control over that. Can they come with a viable opposition that can challenge them at the election? That's what we should be talking about. So, look at what happened in US. Kamala had more endorsement than Trump. We know what it is today.
Mhm.
But it is only after the election is conducted that who will win. Endorsement is just
Yeah, I'm saying,
is feel good.
do you think that they can ruffle the feathers of APC? That's what I'm asking in short.
When they come out with whatever they come out with, their preparedness for the election proper, which again, between now, it will also depend who are they nominated to represent them. Their flag bearer will determine. It's the strength of the flag bearer also. No, it's not just only the party. It's the strength of the flag bearer that will determine how far they can go in the proper elections. So what we are seeing now, they are still in internal arrangement of the parties. Okay, they are meeting to resolve crisis. They have reconciliation group and committee. They have to put their own house in order first before they can go and fight outside. So I think one of the neck now is like they are trying to reorganize first. You have to reorganize before you can strategize. Their house is in disarray. You cannot fight when your house is not in order. So I think what we should be expecting of the neck is like, okay, what will be the outcome of their meeting? Would they be able to resolve all their crises? Would they be able to put their house in order? After they have done that, then it's okay. What next? Who is likely going to be the flag bearer? What kind of mechanism? Would they be able to have a process that will no longer lead to another crisis? Remember in 2022 when they were nominating, it was the process of Atiku coming in that made Peter Obi to walk out. That now led him to Labour Party. We are not at that stage yet.
Mm.
At the stage, the meeting they are having now is about how do we put our house in order? How do we make ourselves to be reckoned with in 2027 elections? And between now and 2026, they need to do a lot of things that will be convincing to the people that look, these guys can provide credible alternatives. So the stage they are now
Mm.
is the stage of putting the house in order. So it's not a case of roughing the weather. At the moment, they cannot
Okay.
give what they don't have.
All right. All right. So I saw an interview earlier today, and I shared in our group. I don't know if any of you have seen it. It's by one Shegun. I've forgotten his surname. Shegun is a very outspoken guy who says he's a PDP party man. And I feel like he was that indirectly talking to Atiku Abubakar, who seemed like the biggest guy in APC so far as of today. And he was saying that if Atiku had aligned with APC, with Obi, because Obi single-handedly, according to report that we have, won over 6 million votes. That would have delivered the presidency to them very, very easily. Unfortunately, that did not happen. So what is likely going to happen? I learned that even Obi and Atiku have even met recently. So since Timileyin was one of the supporters of the obedient movement, I wanted to ask, do you see a possibility of an Obi working together in the coming election? And is it possible that we will see the obedient? I'm sure you know who I'm referring to as the obedient. Do you think they will align with, do you think they will line up behind Obi if he were to align with Atiku?
Thank you very much. And all of these questions are they are a huge one for me, but I will attempt. The truth is, like the village boy said, anything can happen in politics. And the politics in Nigeria is a different one entirely. It's like a show. Anything can happen, just expect anything. But the point is, personally, I don't know, it might be different for other people. When I said I was rooting for Obi, it wasn't because of the party, it wasn't because of anything, it was because of who was representing, that ticket, who was being presented. So that was the reason. And personally, I don't think I am convinced that Atiku has anything to offer this country. I honestly do not think so. I do not think is that person I want to see as the president of Nigeria. In fact, if it was between Atiku and Tinubu, I would gladly vote Tinubu. Because when you are looking about administrative qualities, even only, I would just say, okay, Tinubu. The only reason why I would say, oh, Tinubu, there were just too many scandals. If you understand what I mean, there were just too many scandals that as a black man living in Canada, I would not be proud enough to say that's my president. That's just the truth. And the same thing goes for Atiku, because we don't know much about Atiku now until it gets to that time. I believe many people, especially those of us on this show, already know, what's happening with Atiku, the scandals, the likely scandals that will come out, the Obasanjo's, senior prefect in corruption statements for Atiku. All of those things will come out again. You will just see them on the social media. So the truth is, if there is going to be any alignment, I would, in a way, lose the confidence I had in Obi. That's the truth. In a way, I would lose the confidence I have in him. But I also understand that in politics, you have to work with friends and foes, to get what you want. But it depends on the level of working together. Are they working together as, running mates? Are they working together in an advisory capacity? Are they working together on a platform capacity? So it all depends on how they are working together. So if they are working together, whether you say Atiku should be the president and will be a vice president, or will be president and Atiku vice, which is most unlikely going to happen, I wouldn't buy into that kind of ticket. I would rather Tinubu does his 8 years and let's see what's left of Nigeria after then, or how better Nigeria would be after then. Because right now, like I said the other time, even people that I have in Nigeria can't really say how they would score Tinubu right now. So, but the truth is, I don't see. I mean, on a running mate capacity, I don't see any significance that would, or I don't see any significant opposition power in that measure right now. Honestly, I don't see it. But I don't know what's gonna happen. It's politics, like the village boy said. In 24 hours, a lot can happen. 25 things can happen in 24 hours in Nigerian politics, especially. So I honestly don't see what weight they will pull in the 2027 elections if they were working together. I would rather they work together in an advisory role or maybe capacity role. If Atiku wants to run, he should go and run. And don't bring, because let me tell you the truth, and I believe there are difficult conversations that need to be had. Now, the obedient movement has been tagged in a way that it's an Igbo movement. I know we don't want to talk about that, but I will talk about it. So I'm on my own, all right? So, especially on Twitter. And if you see the tribalism that is going on Twitter, if anybody posts any Igbo man doing something good on Twitter, it's very easy for some Igbo young guy to say, can never be a Yoruba man. If a Yoruba man posts a successful Yoruba man, that one will be quick to say, it cannot be Omo Igbo. And it's getting too deep that we need to be discussing these things. It's getting too deep. So even if Atiku and Obi are working together, I don't know if they will be of good influence on each other right now. Maybe on the political scale, maybe, but how deep is our tribe hate for or love for tribalism? How long is it going to be? Or how deep is it going to go? We should be talking about all of these things. So even most people that the obedient movement attracted that time based on the personality of the principal, which is Obi, I don't know if they are still together or well put together right now. Let's forget about Labour Party for now. Let's talk about the obedient movement. I don't believe everybody is still sticking together, in solidarity and in support for Obi. So I don't know what that measure is going to do. And the few people that believe so much in the presidency of Obi, that Obi is going to be maybe a breath of fresh air to the Nigerian politics, those people are so loyal that they know what he can do. They know what he can offer, or they know how better he could manage things in terms of economy. But what do you think those people will think when Atiku comes on board with him? Personally, and I'm one of those people now. Do you think we are going to be like, Atiku and Obi, what an opposite? Don't forget, they ran together in 2019. What happened then? No, I know we are a little bit more politically aware in Nigeria right now, especially the young population. We are more politically aware, and that's what we saw in 2023. But the best time for that measure was 2023. The best time for that measure was for the 2023 elections. Now, it don't cast. That's the truth. If they had done the measure in 2023, a miracle could have happened, and Tinubu might not be president today. But even if you give presidency to somebody that is not a strategist, if you give presidency to somebody that is very docile, they will hang on to that power for 8 years in Nigeria, let alone somebody that loves it. So that's what I think, personally. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you. Village boy, now looking from outside as an elderly man, when I say outside, you are not an obedient. I wouldn't describe you as an obedient.
And it's also not APC.
I'm not any party person.
Well, I don't.
Even me, I'm not obedient.
Don't slam any party on me. I don't belong to
well,
anyone.
you can't say that. I'm not say that expressly.
You said it.
You cannot expressly say that.
Okay. So what's your question?
Okay, so my question is this: do you see an alliance between Obi and Atiku? Even though if you ask me personally, I would say Obi. I mean, Atiku people in Atiku set should completely retire from politics and stay on the sideline, and play advisory role, and probably Baba Saleh and sponsor, and if possible let them do what do you call it,
Kingmaker,
the one that they said Tinubu was doing in Lagos.
Yeah,
Godfather,
kingmaker now.
Uh, Godfather,
Godfather.
yes. So I would rather he continue to do that, or he start doing that. Because if he doesn't start doing it now, I don't know when he's gonna do it. So but I see that the man is still moving around small, small, and his people are still talking about him on the internet. So do you see Anobi and Atiku coming back to form on a ticket? And if that happens, what do you think would happen to Obi? Obi's obedience, rather. Now, before you answer that, I also want you to think. I mean, this is my thinking. Is it possible that what actually brought Obi the kind of popularity he enjoyed in the last election was the breakaway from Atiku and PDP? That sudden breakaway, which was not expected, people did not expect. Was it possible that that was what launched him forward? Not necessarily that, anyway.
Yeah, the two questions are almost the same, because what we are seeing now is a replay of what happened in 2022, right? Um, 2022, based on after Buhari has done 8 years, it was, I mean, based on what we call gentleman agreement, the North-South rotation, it was almost, I don't know, because it's my dad, I will refrain from using some strong words. So it was not expected that Atiku will come up and say, okay, I want to contest. So it would have been okay if you want to, this is so to the south, it could have been a case of, okay, the east is producing Obi under PDP, and the west is producing Atiku under APC. That would have been probably Tinubu as well, other APC. So there'll be a straight fight. So yeah, this thing is for the south, and they would have just told them, okay, we are not separating east and west. So we have three geopolitical zones in the north and three in the south. In the north, we have the north central, northeast, and northwest. But because of you know age long something, it's easy to collapse the three into one. As so the north, we pick the north easily. Where in the south, we have the south, where Jonathan came from, and we have the north, southeast, and southwest. The truth is that these three elements, we don't see ourselves as one. And we will never see until the kingdom come. So it will, if there's okay, if it is not south, the north, it has almost been the north central all the time, actually. Because imagine, Yaradua is from Katsina State. Buhari is from Katsina State. So technically, the two period of this is the same north central. So, but Atiku now wanted to play fast ones. Okay, yes, Buhari is from north central. We are not from the same zone. I'm from northeast. But average voter see that as a betrayal of the agreement between the north and the south. That okay, Buhari has just finished 8 years. This guy is now coming up. Yes, he still pulled out, he still came second anyway. So, which is another ball game altogether. Now, the fact that Obi came out, I was able to pull out such number because this guy sidelined him. Yes, there should be reconciliation, no doubt about that. But for it to come now as okay, hey, I want to be vice president under Obi, that is, under Atiku, that's a bit unthinkable. And if he agree, I mean, he's probably throwing out his respect. It means he's also unnecessarily desperate for power. Because if I contest with you and you are just few million away from me, and you want to be your spare tire now, it doesn't make sense. Okay, is it possible now to say, okay, Tinubu call Atiku, say, Turaki, this guy, this young boy, it seems he's not experienced. I want you to come and be my vice president. Will he not feel insulted? No, let's just me. It's basically the same thing. These were three main contestants in 2023. So the number two wants to make the number two his vice. If that gonna accept, it means like the guy is not sure of himself. So, and of course, if that happens, not many people who voted for Obi that time will vote for that coalition. This is not mathematics. I hope you know. It's not mathematics. Okay, because I had 8 million, you have 6 million, or this thing, we will
They
combine it.
didn't
It
save
doesn't.
that 6 million
It
somewhere.
doesn't. It's not as if it's saved somewhere, and it's not as if the people that voted for you are obliged to vote for you again if the situation changes.
Probably many people who voted for himself will not vote
I'm sure that
right
many
now.
people voted for Obi, but if you want to use what is happening in Twitter to judge, over 1/3 of them will not vote for him again. So you cannot assume. And now, if you want to look at the power of the governors, imagine who would have imagined that the governor of Delta State will report to APC. It was unthinkable. LP had some good show, or PDP had some good show in Delta during that election. There are a lot of dynamics that are already changing. So
Even the presidential, even the VP candidate, Alante has already ported to APC.
oh, so that's why I say 24 hours is like a crazy time, crazy long time in politics. So one, it is for Obi to accept. And if he accepts, I'm sure he will be disappointing so many people in his base. So, and again, he's saying that, okay, 8 years after the North, then 4 years the South, the North will take over again, which itself is another kettle of fish altogether. He said, what are these people taking us for? Of course, you can, if you want to argue on geopolitical zone. Oh, Buhari, Yar'Adua are from North Central. I am from Northeast. But you can say that to the dogs. Nobody, we don't care. Nobody listens to that. In our mentality, North is one. So that geopolitical zone is artificial, right? So, and
Yeah.
of course, they're not me. But again, politics is a case of horse trading, permutation here and there, you know. So I don't see that working. I don't see that possible. So, and why will you are talking about Atiku? I think Atiku has an age-long ambition, which even though you and I know it's no longer realistic, and we had some,
I'm sure Baba must have been given some prophecy.
we had that. I don't want to go about that. Now that you are pushing word out of my mouth, we had as a man about as Professor that I was going, was going to be president. No, we don't know. And he's holding on to that prophecy because the first leg of the prophecy actually
Yeah,
was
I
fulfilled.
mean,
The first leg of the prophecy was when he became
okay.
governor. They told him that, oh, he will be invited to become the vice president. He already contested and won the election as the governor of Adamawa State.
Mm,
So, and
yeah.
shortly afterwards, they called him, Obasanjo called him to become his vice president. So, first prophecy fulfilled. And afterwards, you are going to be president. But unfortunately, before their second time, there was serious animosity between him and Obasanjo. And Obasanjo took him to the cleaner in his book. Abasanjo just swear that over his dead body, Atiku become president. Anyway, Abasanjo is very old. We are not wishing him dead. So maybe before 2023, we know what could happen. I beg, don't go and report me to him. At this age, you die. So, and it's not God anyway. So, and again,
Yeah.
they took him there, they begged him, he said he has forgiven him. But what he has written in his book cannot be unwritten. He called him names, or okay, he has already printed the names. I mean, unrepeatable names. I won't repeat those names. Those things are there. They are forever. You can't rewrite those ones. So the question is, does it make sense for me to accept to be vice president? Will he accept? If he accepts, then it himself is very desperate. Oh, the promise I will only do 4 years. You can say that to the North. I know if Atiku become president in 2027, the North will tell you we do our 8 years.
Of
Between 8
course.
years. You tell them, but that's not their fault. That's your cup of tea. We have agreed. Anytime not come, we do 8 years. If you throw away your own, now you sabi. So at that time,
All right.
they will not say it's not this or not west. They say not. It's not time. 8 years, non-negotiable.
There is something Timley you mentioned earlier, and to be honest, I have also been thinking about it many times that we discuss about it. But it is a very sensitive topic that I think we all know. We are all seeing it, unless if you don't go if you don't go to Twitter. Sometimes I just close my phone and say, these people cannot kill me. You know, and that is the um, the implication of what happened during the 2022 election between Tinubu and Obi, and how it has further um, widened the gap of relationship between Igbos and Yorubas. And sometimes it's just sad, it's just sad because you find out when you see some people write some things on social media, you just wonder whether these people are educated. But of course, they are educated, you know. Um, so, and I'm sure that that is still probably going to play out in the next election, regardless of, unless if Obi is not on the ticket. And I think he will be. Whether we don't know the party yet because his party now seems to be, one-legged. And I don't.
So we actually have a party. We doesn't
Well,
have
I'm
a
talking
party.
about Labour Party.
From
He
ABGA
contested on
to PDP to ABGA, probably to ADC now, or maybe
well,
SDP,
or maybe he might
El-Rufai,
join this short guy at
El-Rufai,
SDP.
El-Rufai.
Uh-huh.
So
So
I mean,
I'm sure as long
it's
as he
not a
can feel
stable
like
party
his
man.
obedience will follow him,
Not all of them will follow him.
well, well, I'm thinking in my head, do I say we should discuss this topic entirely on a brand new show topic, as a brand new topic, or should we have about 3 or 5 minutes to go? No, we have about six minutes to go.
Well,
So I don't
the
just want
only
to
snag
rush it
there
on the
is
side.
that like, unfortunately, all of us on this podium are Yoruba, so
Yeah,
I would rather
yeah.
we don't discuss it. Unless
Okay,
you can pull out 2 or 2 Igbo guys to come and join us. If you
okay.
can get 2 Igbo
Well,
guys to join us, fine.
maybe we can do that
If you
because
can get 2
I'm saying,
call obedient guys to come and join us, fine. Other than that, it doesn't make sense. Now, Timila is denying that he's not an obedient. So what are we going to do?
no, Timley is an obedient. It's just not the core. It's not the core obedience. That's just it. He supports Peter Obi, but he may not necessarily want to be called an obedient, and I understand why. All right. So
Why? Me, I
anyway,
want to
if
understand. I'm not supposed to be a stranger here now.
no, there's a label that is been that is following being an obedience right now on the internet.
Tell
So
me now. I
I'm
want to
sure
know. I
Tinoy
don't know.
does not want to be identified with those labels. That this is
No,
my opinion, though.
yeah, you are correct. But the truth is, like you said, you hear some people speak and you imagine if they are educated at all. The reason is that it's not just about the obedience, both obedience and the people in the APC. Some
Of
people
course.
just type things online and
Mm.
you think beyond education. You think, is this person trained at all? You know, the worst, I didn't want to say this, but I will say it. The thing is, there are some of these people who are holding public offices, who are aides to governors, aides to
Mm.
members of our House of Assembly or Senate, and they are being paid with taxpayers' money, and they have the right to denigrate. Sometimes you just listen to those things or you read them, and you feel really bad to be of the same member of society with them. Honestly, because imagine somebody beside you where you are living sees it and feels like, so this is how Divinity thinks now. Wow. And it's possible because when NSAS happened, a lot of my friends that I never knew would know about it. They were texting me, "Are you okay? Are your family safe?" That's when you know that they know where you come from and they see reports about where you come from everywhere. So sometimes when people write these things, I think that, but who did us dirty like this? Or is it a curse that we must think along tribal lines, along political lines all the time? There should be some time. What's funny is that some guys, one of those obedient guys, went to Akin Alabi's party in Ibadan. Akin Alabi was just installed as is it Jagun of Ulubadan, Jagun of Ibadan land, something like that. So, and it's funny, Dipo Awojide, who is a staunch APC supporter on Twitter, and there's another guy called Wizarab, there's another guy called, I don't know, maybe Cross, and they were all there. So Wizarab is just like a neutral guy, he doesn't care who you are. And this Cross has been like, obedient, obedient, obedient. And there is Dipo Awojide and all of those people, and Egi Nupe, what's his name again? Foundational Nupe lawyer or something like that. And they were just like,
Okay.
why some people in APC and in the obedience camp, why are you there with them? Why what are you doing in their camp? What is the camp? So we cannot have sane conversations, we can't gather in peace, we can't have fun in peace as humans, as Nigerians, irrespective of where we come from or the parties we
Or
support.
the party affiliation. Yeah.
It's sad, honestly. It's sad. But you will see
Yeah,
Obi
it
and
is.
Fayemi in a room chatting. And
Yes, now
Tinubu,
even President Tinubu.
and then you are here fighting. Ha!
Yes, so
Beleo.
they are causing their mother, causing their generations, and saying all kinds of nonsense on
And
the
now
internet.
they will cost their
You know,
parents.
sometimes when I go through some comment, like at some point, I completely stop myself from going to look at comments when I'm watching something on Arise News or Channels TV, because those places are just too, it's vulgar.
Yeah.
The kind of, well, it, it is well.
Yeah, so
So,
I still believe that we should talk about it at some point, but we should prepare to talk about it. And, sometimes not having difficult conversations is, I don't know, it means we are running away from responsibility. So we should talk about it, but like the
of course,
village boy said,
we,
we
we
should
know
have,
that we know that the issue exists. We are sweeping it under the carpet.
yeah, as the village boy said, we should have a
We know
balance,
the issue exists. So
speakers.
yeah, that would be lovely if we can do that. If we can get some obedient supporters or people who are of Igbo ethnic, so that Um, we are not completely biased or struggling to have a discussion just for the fear of not being biased,
Mm.
you know. So, uh, unfortunately, that's how it is around the world too. Everybody is now talking about their ethnic and ethnicities, even among the whites and Caucasians, whether in Europe or in the Americas. So it is what it is. It's like we are going back to those days where what we read in the history,
Mm.
where we believed that they were not civilized, and now we are civilized. But then look at where we are, with all the educations. We did. I mean, our parents didn't have half of education, the kind of education that we have right now. But anyway, I think we are going to close. So let's just take a few seconds to round up the talk. I know there's so much to talk about when it comes to politics, especially Nigerian politics, and talking about Jagaban himself. The man is being slow and steady. Like say, new ballet, laba laba fi wogo, something like that. If you understand Yoruba,
I don't know you are also to come back
you
with them.
know, you remember. The man will know well. All of those things were during the electionary campaign. Like say, anyway, let me call him out to go. Um, so your concluding word, the village boy.
Well, we keep we keep on watching and see how things goes as life goes. Um, the endorsement is what it is. Part of politicking. We keep our finger crossed. PDP have a meeting. It's a time for them. God helping them to put their house in order. I wish them good luck.
All right, Timline.
Well, I would rather close in a different way. So everything that is happening, like the village boy said, is politicking, and so I know it could be crazy in the ears of Nigerians and especially young people who are fighting hard for their future. I just want to encourage people out there that you should keep focusing on developing yourselves. Being optimistic and doing what you think is right at all times. And whatever is going on Twitter, on social media, just keep up with your grind. You should look beyond that because that could actually stress you out if you keep looking for what is not lost on Twitter. So just keep focusing on the right things, keep doing the right things, keep developing yourselves. The politicians will keep doing what they feel like is best for them, not necessarily what's best for the country at some point. So you should keep looking out for yourself too. Keep doing what you think is best for yourself at every point in time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Village boy, thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be
Timline,
here once again. We pray for
you're welcome, sir.
betterment of our country.
Amen.
Yep. Like Timila, you said, I ask that people continue to engage politely. Let's, participate in politics, but let's participate like people who respect the opinion of others. Other people have a choice. They can decide who to support and who not to support. And it doesn't have to be a crime. You don't necessarily have to be offended by who I support, or I don't have a right to even be offended by who you support when it comes to politics and the participation in politics. I hope we get there. I hope we get it right. Whoever, I don't care about who goes to House Rock. I just want the person that will do better, that will
Yeah.
do right by all of us. The ordinary people. That's what that matters to me. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for watching. Please share the video and drop a comment if you would like, if you have something to say. And if you want to join us, there's an open door. You can always reach out to any of us and we will bring you to join us if you have something to say. So it's opinion sharers, a public platform for us to, put the television in front of ourselves. Since We probably don't, we are not that connected to go to Arise TV or channels. So we create our own TV because we have something to say. So, and you can also join us. Thank you very much. It's been interesting. I pray Nigeria will be better. And we will see you 5 p.m. Nigerian time next week, Saturday. Thank you very much. And bye bye from all of us.
Happy weekend to all.